Hi, everyone. I'm super excited to be with you today. We have a very, very special, esteemed guest tonight. And so, what we're going to be talking about is the joy in giving and also the flip side of it. I want to, before I bring her in, ask you to like, share, subscribe, follow all the things in all the places. I think I can see all of your comments tonight. So, put in your comments and we'll respond live on air. So, let's just jump right in. I am happy to invite Hope Harmon to Black Girl Joy.
Hey, everybody.
So, Hope, give us a little overview of what you do. We're talking about giving, and I just want to give people some context to how much you give.
So I'm a county commissioner in Ben Hill County. I'm the only female county commissioner here. And so when I got elected back in 2016, one of the things that I ran on was that I was going to be visible, I was going to be active, and I was going to be engaged in the community. And so through that and through my campaign and through meeting who are now people who are now my constituents out here meeting voters and talking to them, I decided to create this nonprofit called Act for Change Group. And so through my nonprofit, I mean, we do some of everything. Right now, we've been giving away backpacks since early June, with backpack school supplies. We're supportive to the Senior Citizen Center here. We've given stuff to them, go out to the senior living complexes, take food. I don't think there's much we're not kind of in. Just trying to be supportive in different ways. We just did some programs with the library this summer, which were all free to the public, free to the kids. And so we try to hit every group. So we try to hit something for the kids, something elderly, something family. We just try to hit every group and make sure we're being really inclusive with the things that we do.
Yes. So I'm always seeing Hope's posts on Facebook about what she has going on. And just as a little history and context, I've known Hope almost all my life, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, but it's
we,
because forever.
yeah, so we went to school together. Um, yeah, so it's like a household name in Fitzgerald would be the Harmons and then probably the Butts. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, that's how it is. So let's dig in. So the first thing I want to ask you is kind of what made you, because I know like we've all been involved in the community, but recently, like just the stuff you've done, I want to say in the last maybe 5 years, 4 or 5 years, right? It's grown. What led you to start giving and pouring back into the community?
So kind of, it's a lot, but really, it's a desire that I always had. And during the time I was going through changing careers, and I was going through some different things with one of my children having a newly diagnosed illness. And through all of that, and kind of doing some research on different things in our area, and realizing that we didn't have as many resources as I thought we had. I think sometimes when you're not in the place of need, for certain things, you never think about the flip side of that. Those people who do need those services, and
Mhm.
those people who do need things as simple as shampoo and things like that. So I started kind of getting more involved by going to the city council meetings, going to the county commission meetings. Decided I was going to run to be a county commissioner, and when I won, I decided one of the things I really want to do was connect with all of our local organizations. So I wanted to connect with communities and schools, connect with family connections, because I didn't want to go to them and say, "Hey, these are the things I need you to do now that I'm in office." No, I wanted to go to them and see how could I be a support to them, because we're all working together for the same goal, to be supporters to our community, to bring resources here. And so we kind of started going over the different areas of need. And I'm like, okay, I can do that. Like, no problem. And so the more I started talking to people, and the more I kind of I was out in the community talking to people, the more things we did, the more needs came to us, and the more people started inboxing me and saying these are some different things. And so from that, it's just grown. Especially in the last 2 to 3 years, when we started working with our CASA for our region, that has really grown. And those are kids that are in foster care.
Mhm.
So we've been really supportive to that. So it's just, I mean, it started from just saying, how can I help, to now it's just like, I feel like some days I'm everywhere doing some of everything. So, but I enjoy it. It really does bring me a level of joy, to see those smiling faces, or to hear those people say how much they appreciate and how much those things mean to
Mhm.
them. And I think that, once again, like I said, things that a lot of people take for granted, something that
Mhm.
really may seem small to us, is major to someone else.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So you brought up so much there. So I'm going to try to remember. Am I echoing?
No, you're not echoing to me. No.
Okay. I'm going to try to hit on a couple of things. So one of the things you talked about was like not realizing what people need. And I think when we are surrounded, like we all kind of get in our bubble, right? And so I'm
Yeah.
gonna give two different bubbles. Like my bubble was growing up was not, I don't know how to put this. So I didn't have a lot of, let's say, need, right? I didn't miss a
Right.
lot of things I need. I definitely, we weren't rich by any
Right.
means, right? But I didn't have like just I didn't need a lot of stuff, and that was a blessing. At the time you don't realize it, and I went through my own journey of like learning to process like different people in different places, right? And
Right.
so that, and it, I went on a real journey about like judgment and all this stuff, but
Right. Right.
putting that aside, so it's like this one bubble of I come up in a place where I don't have to need for food or clothes or basic things, right? But then we have another bubble which I think complicates it for us, is the bubble of growing up in a small rural city And sometimes things seem normal that when you leave, you like, oh no, no, no. Like that's not normal and that is a need, but the community may not even recognize it's a need because it's normal to us. So I don't know if any of that makes sense. But do you relate to it in a sense?
Yeah, I actually do. So I grew up until about the sixth grade. We lived in Sultana homes, and then we lived in some other housing authority houses off of Ninth Street. And then I think in around middle school time is when I moved in with my grandparents. And so even then though, growing up in Sultana, it wasn't and nothing seemed odd to me because we
Mm-hmm.
always had food, we always had clothes, we always had shelter. I mean, hey, we're children, we're all over here having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
And so one, so even then I didn't really see, because I think our parent, my mom did a really good job of shielding us from any type of struggle. It may have been
Mm-hmm.
hard for her, but she never let us see it be hard. And then when I
Yeah.
moved in with my grandparents, well, all their children were adults, and I was the only child, and I was the only, I was the oldest girl grandchild. So it was just like, it was nothing that I ever wanted, even
Mm-hmm.
wanted for, that they didn't provide. So once again, there's a lot of things I just didn't see. But my grandfather, he was on the city council, and then my grandmother working with defects. Her, she long career defects, then moving into the senior citizens. I saw and heard things through them about different things going on. And it was kind of shocking to me because I had never seen those things before and I never experienced them. But I can always remember hearing them talk about different things. And
Mm-hmm.
definitely growing up in church, um, they would talk about those different things. So I totally get what you're saying, because you kind of live in this bubble of not really wanting for anything, and then you kind of see that that's not the case for everyone. So what I try to really do is I go into every situation just not non-judgmental.
Mm-hmm.
I hear you out. I've had plenty of people contact me about different things. I'll hear you out. I'll listen to you. I'll try to be supportive in the ways that I can be. But I also know there's a certain line I can't cross, because if we have if defects has to get involved in things like
Mm-hmm.
that, because I also have a good relationship with them. And so yeah, I do try to come from a place of non-judgment. And I know that, even with some of the different things I've done, people have said, well, really, how many people really needed those backpacks and things like that? Well, I don't live with them. I don't know what their bank account looks like.
Yeah.
I know people who look, if we're judging by the outside, there's a lot of people that look like they have a lot of things, but they really don't.
Yeah.
So I try to always keep that in mind, that it's not about what it looks like. If someone comes to me with a need, I'm going to be supportive and help them in the ways that I can. Because honestly, all God called us to do was help. And what
Yeah.
they do with that help, that's their business. That has nothing to do with me.
Whew, you said a word. Because a lot of times you try to give and people like, well, they this, what do they do with their money? And like I said, I've gone through my own journey of like, I'll be honest, right? So I'm very transparent on here and I show lights of myself I probably shouldn't show. But I went through my own journey of like, well, why can't they get it? Why can't they get a better job? Like, and these things. And then as I learned about society and our history, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you were so ignorant. Like, like I was so freaking ignorant to what's going on and how different things impact different people. And there's so many layers to stuff.
Yes.
But as you try to give, it's kind of funny how people will encourage you not to, right? So you would expect, like, okay, I'm doing something good. And so there's this other struggle of it that's like, people like, why are you doing that? They don't need that. They should have saved their money. They could have, you should
Yeah,
have them
yeah.
new shoes.
Yep. It happens. And I'm just like, I don't, I'm like, either you're gonna donate or you're not. Like,
That's
that's
it.
kind of how I am. Are you gonna donate or not? Are you gonna help or not? Okay, if you're not, that's fine. Somebody else will. I'm not gonna have
Hmm.
this conversation with you, And that's
Yeah.
it's a it's a delicate balance, but at the same time, I'm just like, it's not my place to judge, and I just try my best. But there are times and there are situations where people come to me for certain things, and I do have to let community services handle it, or
Hmm.
defect handle it, or an outside organization handle it, because we do have to ensure that this person, there is an actual need there. There
Yeah.
are certain things that I'm like, I just simply can't just do that, because
Hmm.
I also believe in what you do for one, you have to do for another.
Yeah.
So, so there are certain things that I am going to make you, hey, Coastal Plains has this, Salvation Army, Family Connections, those types of organizations, go to them first, because I can't, we have to make sure there's an actual need there first.
Hmm. And so that brings up another good point when you say there's sometimes you're like, I can't do that, or you
Yeah.
have to pass it along, is boundaries, right? And
Yeah.
so when you said that, it brought up to me, me and my sisters we went to two Oprah shows, but I think it was the first one. And she talks about how when she first like became famous and got her big check, how everybody was asking her for something. Like she would give and then they would
Yeah.
ask, give, 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 give. And she said something like, I will never forget, and I've taken it with me. And she was like, you can't give to everything. So
No.
you find those areas that you really care about and you invest in that, but you don't let others guilt you or pressure you into trying to do everything for everyone.
I totally agree, because you will kill yourself or you go broke. Honestly, trying, I mean, you will. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a never ending thing. That's why homeless shelters have the hardest time keeping utilities and things on. It's because, it's a limit to everything. And it takes money to do these things. And that's another thing that a lot of people don't realize, the amount of money it takes
Hmm.
to do things. And you definitely have to have boundaries. So that's why I sit down kind of at the beginning of the year. I plan out for 6 months, sit down, and about right now, and we'll start planning out some things we're going to do for the rest of the year. But I know elderly people, and everybody said children, elderly people, and persons with special needs are my three main groups that I focus on.
Okay.
So, I try to focus on things around that. And with that, the children comes the family.
Hmm.
So those are the main groups I try to really hone in on and focus my projects on. And so we kind of try to, we try to work around those things. And the
Okay.
things I
And so
can't do, I'll go to other people and say, hey, can I be supportive to you in this way?
that's a good idea. So how would you, if you were talking to someone who's like, I want to give, but I don't know how, I don't know where, and they're just like, I want to be helpful, I want to be useful, but like, where would you tell them to start?
Well, I would see what's going on. Who's already doing something in your community is the first thing you always have to look at. When I first decided to do backpack drives, I went to community. I knew from working at the library that communities and schools for years had given away school supplies, and I didn't want to duplicate that service. We are a small community here,
Hmm.
16,000 people. No need for me to come in and try to duplicate something they are doing well. If somebody's doing something well, I don't try to come in and duplicate that thing.
Hmm.
And so I went to them and said, hey, this is what I'm thinking about doing. What do you think about it? Well, they weren't going to do school supplies anymore. They were just going to
Oh,
donate them
wow.
directly to the schools instead of having their bigger event. And so they're supportive to me in my backpack drive. So we partnered together to give away backpacks and school supplies to all the kids that attended summer school this summer. So, and I've just found ways to partner with people so that I'm not trying to do everything. And there's a couple other ideas I had to do. I wanted to do personal hygiene products for um, girls in elementary school. Well, they have a health program. Communities and schools was already helping with that. So
Hmm.
all I had to do was come in, donate some things. We packed up the bags together, and that was another partnership. So it doesn't have to be you can see what's already going on. Reach out to the local organizations, even reach out to the school, see what's already going on, and see how you can be supportive to those people. Because I think a lot of times you see these larger organizations and we're like, Oh, I just donate to them, but it's just small hometown organizations that don't have the funding. We don't get a whole lot of grants. I get out here and raise all the money for my events, and I tell people that all
Mhm.
the time. Like, I don't use any county money for my events. A lot of
Yeah.
people think that I get a budget from the county or something. I'm like, no, I don't. I don't use county money for my events. I do sponsorship letters. I ask people in the community to donate, and people have just been really, really supportive of the things I've done, and have in the amounts just have increased every year. And so we've just been able to consistently do the things that we wanted to do.
That is, I mean, that's awesome. And I think it's great to say start at your local
Yeah.
organizations, because that's true. And a lot of the big organizations that sometimes do a lot of good work, but a lot of it goes to overhead because they have a huge CEO and
Yes.
they have all of the staff and marketing and all of this stuff. So I think the bigger impact is the smaller local organizations. And then just one thing I'll put out there that I do, like, it doesn't always have to be big, right? So
Right.
for me, I have a thing with moms, right? So I did a single moms group for years. It's kind of still running. We figured that out. But so I would do like a small school
Right.
supply drive, and people would, it was big one year. I was like, that's way too much. Um, but I would do a small school supply drive, or even for me, like, you go to Target, you buy 3 Tides, they give you a $5 gift card. If a mom is sitting on the corner with her child and they ask for money, I just keep those gift cards and I just hand them out the window. I just keep them and I hand them out the
Right.
window. It's something really small, but for that person sitting on the side of the road, which
It's
again,
immediate.
people will say, you don't know if they got money or not. I don't. I just pray here. I hope it helps. If you sitting
Yeah.
on the road, then you need something, so
You
because
need
it's
some.
hot. It's in Georgia.
Right.
So like even small things like that people may not think about is helpful,
It is.
right?
It's very impactful. I mean, small things like that. Whenever I see somebody standing on the side of the road with a sign, I'm like, "Do you need some food?" I'll give. I'll go. I might not give you any cash, but I'll go buy you a meal if you're
Hmm.
hungry. And something like that can mean more to them a meal than anything. So it's just and it's also, I'm really big on prayer, and I always ask God to guide me and
Hmm.
to show me the true intentions of people and things like that as well. So whenever God places something on my heart to do, I'm gonna
Hmm.
do it, because at the end of the day, it's not about that person. It's about being obedient to the will of God and what He placed on my heart to
Hmm.
do. And so I think that's another thing that people have to remember. If God placed it on your heart to do, to give that person that, give it to them and be done with it.
Yeah. So as you start like looking at all the stuff you do and planning, I think for me is like, how do you balance? Because I will completely overcommit and, and stretch myself like to the like I don't even know how to describe it. It gets so bad sometimes that the joy you get from giving is almost like a high sometimes, right? And you
Yeah.
get that compliment that is meaningful, and you're like, ooh, that feels good. Let me go find something else to do. Ooh, that feels
Yeah.
good. Or you see someone like benefit from it, even if they don't know it's from you, and you're like, ooh, that feels good. So it's almost like a high, but then sometimes it becomes you're
Too
just
much.
like running, 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 giving, giving, giving. And once you're known to be the person who's giving, giving, giving,
Yep.
you get more and more opportunities to give, 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 give. And we talked about running out, and Grace put, you can't pour from an empty cup in the comments. But how do you navigate the exhaustion that can come from, I don't want to say overgiving, but like giving until it's gone?
Well, I've had to learn over the years that I can't do everything. I just simply cannot. There's some things I just cannot do. I have these grandiose ideas, and I'm great. Thankful to have just some great people around me, and I start going into these, grandiose ideas about these things I'm gonna do, and they're like, "Oh, wait, like, slow down, breathe." How did you say you were gonna do this thing? When did you say you were gonna do it? Don't you have something else to do around that same time? And so I have learned to be able to pull back and
Mm-hmm.
utilize those other organizations. And
Mm-hmm.
I know that when I partner with communities and schools or family connections or monetary enrichment program, I know that those things are going to the right place and the right people that I'm already targeting. So I don't have to be the one to actually go, I don't have to be the one to be there, do everything. No, here you go, this is it. And so it's just knowing. I've learned to know my limits, and I've learned to allow people to be honest with me. And if they tell me that that's not a good idea, to know they're saying that out of love,
Ooh.
and not to be offended. because
Oh,
you know because people can be easily offended when you think you have a grand idea and somebody says no.
oh, I
you know
know. That's to
you
me.
can be offended. But I've learned to not be offended. I've learned to take it like, these people love me, and these people
Mm-hmm.
care about me, and these people want to see me do well. So if they say no, Hope, I don't think that's a good idea right now, I'm going to go back to the drawing board and think about something else, and think about doing it in a different way.
So you spoke a word, and I'm gonna speak on this almost every episode. Is in order for you to be able to accept that feedback, you got to know that person's coming from the right place, which means you have to have the right people around you. So, how have you found that the people around you impact your capacity to give?
So most of the people around me are my family, are people I consider my family, that I've
Mm-hmm.
known forever at this point. But I pray often that God positions me in the right place, to be in the right people to be there. And just some people I've met in the last couple of years as well have become like family, where they can be honest with me, and I'm not going to be offended, because
Mm-hmm.
I need that level of honesty.
Mm-hmm.
And I also pray to God to reveal to me that if there's anybody around me that shouldn't be around me, and to let me be able to let that go, because I have a hard time letting go of friendships, and that's a whole nother story. but um but definitely, I'm thankful for my family, because my mom and my aunts, if you see me doing something, that's who's going to be there, is my aunts. Most of the time, my aunts, my cousins, people who are related to me. And I always know they're coming from a pure place, and I always know that they only have my best intentions at heart. They only want the best for
Mm-hmm.
me. So if they come and say something to me about something, that they're coming from a genuine place of love
Mm-hmm.
and care.
No, that is awesome because yeah, I'll be like, why they don't like my idea? I'll be crying at night. I'll be up all night. Why they don't
I
like my idea?
I get offended now. Don't get me wrong. I'm like, what? The Lord placed that on my heart.
Yeah, that's why you
Lord,
don't understand it. You don't understand it because he
yeah,
tell you you didn't get it.
the word didn't come to you. It came to me. But then I sit and think about it. And the Lord's like, didn't you ask? You want to be out there by yourself giving out them plates.
Look, you're like, oh, never
so,
mind.
I mean, what I on MLK this past year, weekend, we did 200 plates. And
Oh,
I was
jeez.
like, I can't be in here fixing plates by myself.
Yeah.
And look, I'm sorry, I got that plug in my laptop, but
Oh, you fine.
I had gotten this grandiose idea that I was gonna cook all this food.
You were gonna cook it,
I was gonna get somebody to help me cook it,
ma'am.
and I said, "Who? who?
Ma'am.
Who gonna help you cook all this food?" Hope. I
It's a
was
whole
like,
restaurant.
we're gonna like make these 200 plates. We're gonna get somebody to cook the chicken, and then we can make the baked beans and stuff ourselves. We can do that. They said, "Hope, Sam's Club sells potato salad in the tub for $5." I
Mm-hmm.
suggest you go over there and get. You better look at the servings, do your calculations, and go over there and get that pre-made potato salad and baked beans, and we gonna put them on the plate. They did help me plate it, but nobody was gonna cook.
No. Like Grace said, who?
Yeah, yeah, it was my mind that they were gonna cook this food, not me, but them.
Wait, you didn't think you were gonna cook the food?
Well, no, I was
No.
on. I had already assigned other folks to do stuff, and they were like, "Ooh, we're not cooking
Oh.
that." So, but it's just stuff like that they're just like, "No, there's an easier way." I mean, and it was
Mm-hmm.
the easiest way was going to Sam's Club, getting the potato salad that was already made. They have great baked beans that are already made.
Mm-hmm.
We got a couple of cases of chicken. Mr. Mel Smith cooked all my chicken for me, and all we had to do was plate it. The
Yeah.
best idea in the world. Didn't come to me like that though. When I thought about it,
So isn't it funny how when you're trying to do something or you're trying to like give or whatever it is that's gonna bring light and life into the world, that what you need comes to you. So even though you thought like I'm gonna find no, they're gonna cook, that didn't come to you because that
no,
one gonna work. That one gonna work out well anyway. That was just too much, right? It was gonna be like they were gonna try to keep up, and then you're gonna run out of food. It's just gonna be a lot.
right, right.
Or they ain't gonna never volunteer again. You're gonna wear them out. One or the other. And so it's funny how like what you need comes to you when you need it, right? When you're
Right.
on this path of purpose, like what you need. So the people come to you, the supplies, the resources, and you're like, I don't know how this just happened, but it happened.
Yeah, that happens often, like every time, because I'm kind of like, I'm like, I have no idea how I'm gonna do this, and it's always like, well, in the end, when it works out, I'm like, well, God, you made it work, because I know I didn't do it on my own. There's nothing that I do on my own. I always know that as long as you're walking in purpose and as long as you have pure intentions,
Mm-hmm.
that it's always gonna work out in the end. Then it's not, and I've also learned it is not about the number either, that we get too caught up in numbers
Mm-hmm.
that, oh my gosh, I want to give away 500 this or 700 that, but what if God is content with 100?
Yeah.
Like, I don't have to give away 500. Maybe I can only do 100, but am I doing it from a pure place? And do I have good intentions? And I did. And so, and if all I can do is 100 this time, that's all we're going to do. And so I've learned not to be so focused on numbers either, and not be so numbers driven, but just
Mm-hmm.
getting the people who are in need at that time what they need. And that's the main thing.
That is amazing. So I only reserved 30 minutes of your time and it went by super, super fast. So
Yeah.
I'm going to give you the last word on how your giving has impacted your joy.
Well, um, growing up, my grandfather always taught us that we are supposed to be the hands and feet of Jesus. And so through my giving and through being a county commissioner and through doing all the work that I've done, I feel like that I have been walking in purpose on purpose. I feel like God placed me in this role for a reason, and it is to help people here. And it was to make a real impact. And so my joy comes from seeing those smiling faces of those children, knocking on those doors and giving out those plates and talking to our elderly citizens, and just knowing that every day I wake up, I'm waking up on purpose to do something great, no matter if it's small, but great for somebody here in our community. And that brings me joy.
That is amazing. So I put it in the comments, but I'm going to put up as well where to follow Hope Harmon. Tell us what you have going on right now that you need our help with.
Well, I'm going to be doing some backpack giveaways. We're still on the move with that. So any kind of donation will be super helpful. I have PayPal, Cash App, all those great things, but everything is on my Facebook page. There's a flyer on there. And then we'll be moving up to October. We're going to do a fall festival, and every child that comes is going to be able to get a free Halloween costume. So I'm really excited about that as well.
That's awesome and creative and out of the box, right? I've never heard of that. I've never
Yeah.
heard of that. That is amazing. So, Black Girl Joy slash active potential coaching slash everything Roselle does, right? We're going to be making a donation to the book bag drive. So I'll
Thank
get
you.
that over to you. Make sure. What is your Cash App? If you can yell it
Um,
out.
so my Cash App is $ hopeful Sharon. And so, like I said, it's on the flyer. It is definitely on the flyer. And my PayPal is just hopeharmon@hotmail.com for the email.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. This was a great time. I love sharing your comments. I figured out how to make them work. Yes.
I
Learn
see.
something new every time. Remember to subscribe, like, follow, share, subscribe, comment, whatever you need to do, save. I don't know. Do it on every Black Girl Joy page. So that's Spotify, Apple, Google. I'm reading the thing. YouTube. You can also follow me on LinkedIn if you would like. So thank you so much. And thank you, huge thank you to you, Hope, for coming. And we will see you guys next week in his birthday behavior because it's my birthday. All
Ooh.
right. Bye.